I guess the question you should be asking yourself is, am I violating that principle? And should I, instead of copy and pasting these steps that are going to mean I'm going to have to maintain the same thing in 2 different places or more, should I instead sort of turn it into the Power Automate equivalent of a function, which is a child flow?
G'day team, Adam Cogan here from SSW TV, and today we're talking Power Automate flows, and we're going to have a look at a few and critique them. And for that, we have our resident Power Platform developer, Calum. How are you, Calum?
I'm good, thanks, Adam.
Awesome. So this should be good because most developers are very familiar with critiquing other people's code, but when you're in the Power Flows story, it's a little different, right?
Right.
Okay, but he's expert at complaining all the time, and I am sure that when he looks at this one, he's going to find something wrong. So this is the SSW coding challenge, and it's been automated. So actually for many years, we just found out the person's name and their email address, sent them a couple of appointments for meeting up, and when they started, we'd create a repository, send them another email. We'd ask them to send us an email back after they knew what they were doing.
Yep.
And it would have a diagram, so an attachment.
Yep.
And then we'd reply straight away with the actual one that they're meant to build, just so that nobody was out of sync and everybody was building the right solution.
Right.
That whole process has been automated, and you're going to have a look. This is creating the GitHub repository.
Right. Let's have a look.
Let's see what you think. So here we have this one. I can already guess you're looking at the names and you're happy that that's
correct.
No
They're all
specific
shared
name.
accounts.
This one's shared too.
Yep.
Anything else? I guess you want to see if these are working. They're working.
Yep. I can
This
see
one's-
some success.
This one's a little faster, 26 seconds.
It is.
So, happy?
I'm happy.
All right, let's go and have a look at this particular flow. So I'll press edit and we'll jump over here.
Yep.
Here we have it. So one of the things that you will often find developers complain about that are doing flows is it gets really long. And then they're saying, look, there's so much stuff there. I could get that amount of stuff and put that in a Azure function and just call that, and that'll be a lot neater. But before you jump that far over, you can make one of these guys.
Correct.
And you combine it. You can even move it into its own flow and reuse that.
Yeah. So when I'm looking at a flow that's starting to get pretty complicated, like you just mentioned, there are a range of options you can do, and this is probably the first one that I would look to because obviously the easiest one to implement. It's just called a scope step, and basically it's just a way to sort of hide all these steps inside one sort of parent, and that can obviously simplify what's happening on the flow, so you can see at a glance what it does without having to read each step and sort of figure out the net effect of all of them.
Right. Okay. So let's start from the top, see what you spot. We're going to go down.
Yep. We've got many variables which may not be necessary, and the naming convention as well. I would probably try and make more consistent with what I explained before. Yep, keep going. Yeah, okay. So here we've got our scope step like we mentioned. So I did actually say before this was the first step. So other things you can do when you've got a piece of functionality that is being reused, just hit those 3 ellipses in the top right. So you'll see there's an action to copy to your clipboard, which is in preview. So that is a cool little feature. What it does is it lets you basically copy and paste flow steps. And if you copy this scope that's got these 3 child actions, it'll actually copy all of those as well.
Is that violating the dry principle? Don't repeat yourself?
Almost. Obviously, if you just copy it, that's fine. Once you paste it, that's a violation.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, so if you are using this copy and paste functionality, I guess the question you should be asking yourself is, am I violating that principle? And should I, instead of copy and pasting these steps that are going to mean I'm going to have to maintain the the same thing in 2 different places or more? Should I instead sort of turn it into the Power Automate equivalent of a function, which is a child flow? So what you can do is just create a flow that just has those steps in it. You can define the inputs and the outputs, and then you can call that flow from this spot in the parent flow. And then in any other parent flow you've got, you can call the same child flow as well.
Right. But you're not suggesting in this case, because we don't know if this is used many times.
Correct, I'm not.
It's since we've looked at most of it, we can assume it's not.
Yep, and like you touched on before, we've got some error handling here.
Yes.
So if you just hit these 3 ellipses and click Configure Run After. So what this is telling you here is that this scope step is only going to run under the condition that the previous step has failed or is skipped, not successful. So basically it's catching an exception. If something has gone wrong with the first one, then do these actions. So that's how you would do sort of error handling inside of Flow. So that's good to see.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, and anything else?
We've got some more error handling there, which is cool. And you can see there, if there's no error, we notify the candidate. I assume if there is an error, then it sends a notification to the developer that they need to fix it up.
And sets off an alarm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So that's done. So there you go. We've done a nice little audit of a few flows. You've got a little bit of feedback. You see how one person critiques another person's work. Hopefully that was useful for you. It was for me. Thank you, Calum. That was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to know more, we have plenty of rules on the SSW site. In the area of Power Automate, we have this great rule that you might want to look at of why Power Automate is awesome, with how it connects to lots of stuff without any code, but also what to do when it gets a bit hairy. These things get even hairier than what you've just seen here. We just looked at a couple of simple ones that actually completely automate someone's job. So there's a lot of work that does, and it took away pretty much a full-time person's job doing all that stuff. But there are times that handwriting it in Azure Functions or an API is a better way, and we just talk about that on the rule. So enjoy that. If you have any other feedback on Power Automate or the critique we've done, throw it down there in the comments. We love to learn as well. This is Adam Cogan signing off for SSW TV.